Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. In the patch notes for the November 2021 update, we were told that this end-of-the-year update cycle would be in 2 parts. But what we weren't told is that a significant amount of content is coming in the second of these 2 parts. It's not as much content as the content contained in the first part of this update, but the new additions to the game are quite significant. Before we get into these new additions, a reminder that the Origin of Wisdom campaign, for which the Tier 4 French destroyer Xarkun and the Tier 7 German cruiser Mines are the reward ships, is still ongoing. Furthermore, if you've fallen behind on any of the milestones for this campaign, you still have time to catch up. All your uncompleted missions should still be there for you to complete, and so you can get to work on those if you've lagged behind. But we've already spoken extensively about this ongoing campaign, so let's move on to the new content. First up, a tech tree line of Pan-Asian destroyers is arriving. This new line comes with 2 new dedicated Pan-Asian destroyer commanders, whose names I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce them. The first commander has a base trait called Tin Opener, which improves armor-piercing shell ricochet angles by up to 8%, meaning you can deal damage with AP shells against more heavily angled enemy ships. And the patch notes don't say that this base trait is exclusive to destroyers, so this AP shell buff may be applicable for all ship types, and that is quite interesting indeed. The first commander's unique third row skill is called Knuckle Duster, which increases damage to enemy ship engines and rudders by up to 10%, and reduces the detectability of your torpedoes by up to 25 meters at the expense of reduced damage. The second commander's base trait is called Quantum of Solace, and it increases both torpedo damage and destroyer concealment by up to 3%. This James Bond base trait guy also has the unique third row Knuckle Duster skill. And since the Lo Yang is a Pan-Asian destroyer, anyone who got that ship from the last campaign will now benefit from having 2 dedicated Pan-Asian destroyer commanders to use, and both of these have interesting base traits that might be useful on other builds. As for the line itself, the Pan-Asian destroyers will be bringing a new mechanic to the game: deep water torpedoes. The concept of these torpedoes is simple. They travel deeper under the water than regular torpedoes, and as a consequence, they are significantly stealthier and can only hit enemy ships with deeper drafts. In other words, these torpedoes can't damage enemy destroyers, but they can damage everything else. They also have improved flooding chances compared to normal torpedoes, but that is not the only gimmick this line has. The Tier 6 Gajah Mada and Tier 7 Xian Yang can both trade smoke generator consumables for radar consumables, although I think these radars will probably have significantly less range than the Xarkun's 9-kilometer radar. We'll see. As far as the notes say, this isn't an early access line, so we should be able to start grinding these destroyers as soon as the patch is live. Moving on, we are getting 2 Bureau projects, one of which yields a new legendary tier ship, finally. The ship is USN Battleship Montana, essentially a souped-up Iowa with an extra turret for a total of 12 16-inch guns. Hopefully Wargaming loans the CCs this ship for testing and previews, because I'll be very excited to make a video with it. But the second Bureau project is called the Dragon Fleet Project. It does not yield a new ship, but it can be boosted by the new Pan-Asian destroyer line, and instead of yielding a legendary tier ship, it yields commander progression resources, which are some of the scarcest resources in the game, so it may potentially help you build up your commanders, and I can't really call that disappointing. As for the rest of the new content, there's not much, but it's still significant. First is Ranked Season 20, featuring Tier 5 ships and, well, there's no easy way to say this, aircraft carriers. Yes, CVs will be playable in this upcoming ranked season, which may well mean I don't play this upcoming ranked season at all. We'll see, but I do not think CVs belong in a competitive game mode because they simply enjoy unfair advantages over surface ships and there really is no counterplay versus them. Disagree with me on this point if you want in the comments, and thumbs down the video if you're a dedicated, passionate CV captain, but in my opinion, this is not a good thing. I think ranked should be left exclusively to surface ships. We'll see, and maybe we'll cover the ranked season featuring carriers. But speaking of surface ships, a new Tier 6 Premium is set to debut this update. French battleship Strasbourg, which is a Dunkirk-class battleship that gets access to the main battery reload booster consumable. I really hope this ship is not squishy as hell and coated in overmatchable 25 or 26 millimeter armor plating everywhere, because that won't be great at Tier 6, but I suspect that is in fact how the ship will be, and that'll make it an exceptionally squishy battleship. But maybe it'll get good concealment and reward careful play and the use of the main battery reload booster as compensation. We will see when we get the ship. That's pretty much it for the update, though. I told you there wasn't a lot of content. Only 2 more little tidbits left. Some collaboration items are returning, namely the Godzilla vs. Kong items and the Arpeggio of Blue Steel Ars Nova Weeb stuff. So anyone who wanted that stuff and missed out on it, you'll have a second chance to get it in this update. In closing, I'm glad we're finally getting a new legendary tier ship, although I wish we were getting more, but I can't complain about a Bureau project that doles out commander progression resources. Not thrilled about CVs in ranked. Iffy on the Strasbourg as a premium tier 6 battleship. But I'm very interested to grind the new Pan-Asian destroyer line, as well as buff and test out the new Pan-Asian destroyer commanders on the new line and on other lines. Feel free to let me know what you think of the update in the comments. I didn't really realize all this new content was coming, so I didn't arrange my work schedule to facilitate streaming on the Monday when it drops, but I'll try to manage something in that department. But really, that's all there is to say for this update. Pretty short talk here, not a lot of content to cover, so be sure to give the video a thumbs up before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, if you want to read the patch notes for yourself, there should be a link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.